one of the things about building an all-electric home compared to building a conventional home with a gas line is that you don't have the gas line. Well, heat pumps are air conditioners, right? And you already have an air conditioner in your house. You have a central air conditioner. A heat pump's just a really nice one that works in reverse in the wintertime. So we reduce the mechanical complexity of a house by eliminating gas as a heating element, because effectively we don't have to manage those burners. We don't have to maintain them. We're not worried about the ignition plates. We're not worried about the carbon monoxide sensors. In fact, we're not worried about carbon monoxide at all inside the home because we don't have it as a possibility. And the heat pump itself is more efficient at moving heat from the outside to the inside of the building in winter than the gas furnace is.
It's an air source heat pump, moving heat around. It's like a refrigerator that runs in reverse. You can tell it's running full speed right now. It's probably 32 degrees out right now, and it's pretty quiet. So it's not going to bother your neighbors. You're not going to have to put up soundproof fencing or something around it like you might with other air conditioners. So instead of just the on-off or a couple speeds that a typical furnace has, and where it runs for a few minutes, you either get hot or cold depending on the season, it stops, the air stops moving. This can ramp up from 0 to 100 and just keep your temperature set point where you want it to be.
I moved into my newly renovated home December 20th. And so in Chicago around that time, we were well into negative temperatures at nighttime. And you know, it's a test for any house that has a heat pump to see how it performs there. So there's a couple things to think about. So number one, we spent some real money on insulation and air sealing that house. It was really well prepared to handle those ultra cold temperatures. But number two, our air source heat pump goes down to negative 17. So it had no problem harvesting heat from negative 10 degree air on those nights to heat the house. We include energy return ventilators in these buildings. Energy return ventilators simply exchange inside and outside air 24/7, 365 days a year. The net effect is having an open window all year round, all day. You don't have the energy penalty that comes with that open window because it extracts the heat from the exhaust air and moves that heat into the fresh air intake. It also filters fresh air, so you don't have the allergy penalty that comes with an open window. You're not letting pollen and outdoor air pollution in. You know, when you think about electrification, the appliance you interact with the most, the one that you're sort of most intimate with, is your stove, right? You don't hang out with your water heater, you don't hang out with your dryer, you don't hang out with your furnace, you know, but you are often cooking a family meal on the stove. So induction stoves are really different than regular electric stoves. They have a little magnetic coil in here. That magnet is actually sending waves into the metal, into magnetic cookware. This is like a $5 IKEA pot, right? So it's a cheap IKEA pot, but it is magnetic. Cold water's in there. So the benefit of induction is 95% of the energy that's being sent to that coil is actually heating the cookware. You don't have any of those combustion byproducts, nitrous dioxide, carbon monoxide, possibly, all those things. So that's cold water in there. And I always like to take a $20 bill and put it underneath because that gets people's attention for a little while. And it cools instantaneously. So So in fact, I could pull this $20 bill out, move that over, and it's still intact, and I can touch that surface. There's no burning to my hand. So if you have solar on your home, you can produce your own power. Now, the return on investment on solar is pretty straightforward and well established. There's federal tax credits, there's solar renewable energy tax credits. Those offset almost the entire cost of the system, except for a few $1,000s. A solar system in a certain location can produce a certain amount of power. So on this house, we're anticipating that solar production is going to be right around $1,000 a year. And we're anticipating that energy usage will be right around the same amount.
I built a few homes that still had gas lines and were LEED certified. And I was like, why are we still including fossil fuels in these homes? And can we do all electric, include solar, and get, to where we're net zero, which is where we need to be as a city, a nation, and a world. My inspiration for getting into building homes in the first place was to build in neighborhoods that were once redlined, and to help rebuild communities that had seen decades of disinvestment. So that's just a combination of two goals that happened to meet.